Okay, I started getting these fiber optics in. What I'm doing is I'm cutting a little piece of shrink tube that'll fit them into three. I'm fitting them into three bundles. The one's coming off the console in a bundle, one coming from that side in a bundle, and this side in a bundle. We still have this side here, so I'm just grabbing them to get them all close together. Hopefully these will all fit. Or I might have to go a bigger size shrink tube. Then I cut off all the uneven pieces so it makes it easier to slide into this little tiny piece of shrink tube. Try to get them all into one shot, and I've been getting lucky, so there we go. And then they're all bound up into that shrink tube, and then I just kind of come down and make sure I have a decent length. Now these should all bend down, I'm hoping, when they sit down in that on there, because they can bend down and they'll be fine when we glue that down. So that's a pretty good distance there. So that what I've been doing is carefully with my solder gun is then you'll get a couple that'll want to move a little bit as far as the fiber optics, but we can, before it's fully melted in, you can move it back a little bit. That way we can cut any of the weird boogery ends off. So I always kind of heat it a little, start shrinking it a little further where I know I'm going to cut, because you'll get some of these ends starting to twist and do weird things. And then still won't cut right up to the shrink tube, so I'll get rid of all this excess there. And then what I'm going to do is then just lightly mushroom over those ends. It helps them gather the light better, and then they won't slide through either your shrink tube, because it makes that end a little bigger. And before you slide that shrink tube back up, you can poke them at a light, make sure they're still glowing, all of them, and they are. So the shrink tube's still a little loose, but it won't go past those mushroom ends now. And then we'll be able to slide that into the shrink tube over to the 5mm LED. But what we can do is we can take now all these different shrink tube ends, all these different ends of fiber optics that are shrink tubed. This one's difficult because it's quite a bend. Get rid of any clippings. And we can try to bundle them together. This one's a little, like I said, it's a little tougher because I have that one really in there. Sometimes you can then bundle all those together. And let's see if we can, and guesstimate what size. I'm going to say 3 of those. It's probably going to take a yellow. I might even need something bigger. Yeah, because I might be able to get 2 in the yellow. So we'll go with the green. And we'll make it about yay big there. And we'll try to get all those bundles into a bundle. Make sure your ends of your fiber optics are still coming out the. I'm not liking how. Is it this one? That's that one. I want to try to get that. It's not come completely shrunk tight enough. It's a little better. Let's make sure it's still glowing all the lights. Yeah. And I think now I'm going to trim them again. Try to get them all like even. At least especially at that end. At the end, they're all going to poke against the bulb. I'll have to mushroom these over again. Always keep checking that light's traveling through them. Sometimes it's hard. Yep. Now, where'd the green one? Okay. Now, let's see if we can try this again. Get you all together. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be quite tight with that there, so we might have to we might even have to go a bigger size. This would still be perfect if I can get it over this last little shrink tube. I might not be able to. It's coming along okay, but I need to get them to go up more. It's just hard to hold on to little tiny bundles of fiber optics and get a push. I guess what I could do is then come in here and trim that a little shorter without trimming any of the fiber optics off. Now I wonder if I can just get that to, I think that'll work. Now can we get that down into, plug into the light? If we can do that, we're good. Now, see if I can battery test that. Oh, we're all lighting. So very good. If I can get it dark enough and there we go, we have lights. So sweet, that is done. That's one big task out of the way. Turn off the soldering gun. But there we go. Now probably what I'll do is just take a little bit of tape. I got some spare pieces here that I was using to hold the fiber optics as I was melting things. So what we'll do, this will kind of help it stay stable as far as nothing rocking around and moving and sliding. So we'll put a little piece of tape right there. Simple as that. If it eventually falls, you know, tape's not always good to hold things because eventually it can go bad as far as the stickiness, but then it's gonna be, and we can test this like that. Yeah, it's fitting in there good. And that'll keep them from getting snagged on anything in here. But there it is. Well, the lighting's in. Let's turn this off so you can see it. Or at least hopefully you can see some of it. There's the side consoles. And there's the front console. Yep, it came out nice. That'll work just fine for in there. So, let me show you the underside. I have these taped down so they won't get caught. Shrunk tube all that. Got the power lines going through and tacked them in here on the corner because that'll give them once she slides in here, which we're going to do here soon, that'll get everybody in a good position, and then I can jump them along those walls there. Keep them kind of low. I'm wondering if I should even bring them down to this trench. Or is that bring it into the ship? That might be the best way to go too. Yeah, that would bring them down in here. And then I could just scoot it across there, and you won't see in there because that'll be all covered by this. So I think that'll work. That's going to work great. Yeah, I made these long enough. I can drop these down just like that. And there's a perfect little trench for it to run in. And now I have a perfect spot. I know where I got to drill my holes. And just come straight across off that corner. Probably have to even drill a hole in that plastic too. Yeah, because of the way. Let me plug this in here and I can see how this sits. Yeah, because those ridges go on the outside. Okay, they'll be way down there, so I can mark them right there. They'll be right by the ramp. Yep, I'll poke a couple holes in there. I wonder if I can get this to lean on its back and get those marked while we got this set like this. There it goes. Oh, that's going to snap in like that. Or if you're going to snap out. There we go. Go. Got one hole. Gotta be careful because that plastic piece is fairly flimsy because there's really nothing really there but just that one little crossbar. Oh, I wonder if I can straight across make that other, at least a mark. Yeah, I can. All the way across. Probably make this drill bit longer and drill both of those holes one time now that this is using it as a guide. And we can drill straight through. Perfect. I could even put a piece of styrene tube across here to kind of hide the wires if I wanted to. But I don't believe we have to, because like I said, I think that's all going to be hidden and you won't see it from the up top. Oh, that's perfect. So I guess we can start gluing this cockpit together. Wings They moved. Almost forgot. Yeah, so we can actually go ahead and get this glued because I ran that for a while here. Always like to run things before you close them up, just in case. So again, we'll get those through, see how everything fits. Yeah, man, is that going to still be out of, make sure that's out of the way for the plastic piece that goes there. Make sure all those are staying down. Alright, we can add some glue. I think we'll be fine. Get a little Revell glue in the, probably want to get some tape out too. Like at least 3 pieces to go 1, 2, and 3. Something I always forget to do is get the tape ready. Sometimes you need your other hand to still hold parts together. I like to put a little bit of this in these key points. That looks like it has a reason to be there. Get a little bit of this good glue on the edge here. My tape is not sticky, and this is the tacky tape. This is tape that doesn't want to ever come apart. Not that there's very good surfaces, flat surfaces to grab onto either, but still, it doesn't give me any problem sticking to something. And we'll try to sneak some, there it is, this in here, and then we'll hit a couple light clamps maybe. I was hoping not to have to use clamps, just because this seemed like it would be an easy section to tape off. I'm trying to think, is there anywhere else I want to try to sneak a clamp in? Not really many places. I guess I could sneak one in there. Might not be a bad idea. Try to shoot some glue in there. I don't think I have anything big enough to squeeze across those. But maybe like this. Yup. These red handle ones aren't as brutal. There we go. So that's all set up. And see what becomes of it. Well, hello and welcome back. I am working away on the lighting for the sconces in this hallway, or this area here. I painted all of it up. As hopefully you can see. So all that's painted. The bridge is even painted, the sides, because we'll be able to hit the bottom from underneath when we actually glue all this together. Except for the ramp there, I actually did paint and sealed the bottom of the ramp there and the top of the ramp. So all that's hit. All that's painted in there. I did the sconces white with little black accents. And did a dark gray on the door accents and on the wall. Kind of brings some detail into the wall. I don't know how much you'll see that once it's together, but that's looking good. And then I built some light boxes, and started putting some blue LEDs in there and got the negatives tied together. And then I got 2 resistors here, and I'm gonna tie those and together and get the power going to it. Base is looking good. Don't know when the last time I showed you that. With the logo on there. Cockpit area is looking good. Got all this all painted up in there. Just ran some staging tape in there that you might see when the door is down. Because it's black and it's flexible. That way the ramp still has room to move around. I thought about, you could also put a piece of styrene down there and then push it up and glue it to the bottom of the cockpit compartment at an angle. That would probably work as well. But at least that gives it something when the door is open, you're not looking up and seeing the roughness of the bottom of this, plus the fiber optics I had. Otherwise, I would have hid that a little better, but I didn't realize all that would have been seen. So that worked. The tulip went and filled that gap in there for this front piece. And in the corner, I put some tulip in there. There was some gapping there. Might have to put another coat. Probably not, because once this thing snaps in, it's going to be almost impossible to see in there. So we'll look at it, just dry fit, and see what we got to do. But otherwise, I can sand that and just run maybe some of the surface primer in there and sand it. But we'll start getting this all sanded up. But let's finish with this sconce, and then the only other electronics left is I think I'm going to do 2 LED strips back here for the engine lights. I still have the tape on there. I could probably pull all that. But we'll worry about that later. Now, let's see if I can. This is always the fun part, because you don't have anything really to hold on to. You need smaller hands. Because I like to twist those. You try to get it to slide down a little further. If I bend that excess off, might be able to. Because we don't need all that wire. There's going to be some fiber optics running in here, and I would like to try to give them as much room as possible. There we go. Get that to slide down. And we might as well solder it. There we go. Cut all that excess off. And probably wouldn't hurt to get rid of that too. And let's do it to the next one. Get a couple wraps somewhere, and then I'm able to get this excess out of the way, so I can slide the resistor down. Maybe I got those wraps on there pretty tight. There we go. Again, we'll get rid of excess resistor tail and excess LED tail. Ooh, and that's pulling my box. My boxes still need to dry, I think. And I'm too impatient. I'm putting a lot of stress on them. That's because that wall is heavily covered with black, and they're not wanting to glue on that well to that, which is the way it's supposed to be. Now what we can do is we can, with hopefully out pulling the light boxes off the wall, problem with being impatient. Usually just thin cement dries so quick it handles that situation. Alright, now do I dare try to get a piece of this magnet wire onto there? Pre-burn off that extra coating with a lighter, because it seems to be working well, and especially on those ones like the copper and the green. The red was pretty much melting with the solder, but the copper and the green did not. And then I was always in fear of a cold solder joint. Alright, let's see if we can get all that to solder together. There we go. I don't think we need that much wire. So. But I think I need to stop messing around with this. I'm going to add some extra glue back here. I'm almost wondering if I should use a tube glue that'll really melt them in, but probably not. Let's see if I can get a shrink tube down on that so it looks a little better. Probably should test it before I do all that, but not like this is an overly complicated connection there, so we're gonna go with shrinking it up really quick. Not one of my prettiest, but it will suffice. Yeah, it looks like you moved over. And then down. just melt insulation right off these tips. A lot of this wire is going to be excess, but and let's see if we can get these to make a contact. That's going to be the first thing. Yep. Oh, we got one that's not working. Unbelievable. Well, that hasn't happened in a while. Well, the only way to check to see if it's some of the wiring to it is to skip it and try to hit positive negative before the resistor. But I don't think I'm going to be able to in this weird configuration here. No, so I'll have to drop this to 3 volts. Because I'm going to touch it before the resistor, so still lighting that, which is probably where my problem is. You know we're making it, well, we don't really know we're making a negative connection. We should be. But I think that bulb's bad, and I don't know how to get that out of there. Except for pulling resistors. That's not what I want to do after I just got it all soldered together. Are you kidding? Oh, it just pulled that diode right apart. So there's a problem. There's the problem. We're just going to cut this to make it simpler. And I might as well just pull the fucking light box right off. Because it's A, not sticking, and B, it's going to be a bitch to get out of there. I gotta re-super glue that. Nothing funner than, more fun than doing stuff over again. And I thought I checked that. I mean, that's why you just check in every stage you're doing, but I thought I did. That way it prevents that from happening. Usually, like, I check it before I put install, then I usually glue it, then I usually check them again. Somewhere I missed a checkpoint, and very important checkpoint. So now you guys get to see how I got to where we were. I'll super glue around like that. This is like that, so yeah. We're gonna have to re-glue that. Let's see if we can. Just nothing wants to stay, and you know, that's my impatience again. But it's taking a little longer for that, but like I said, it's going over paint. I should have scraped some paint because I'm going to hit back in there with black anywho. Alright. Wondering if I should do the deed on this first. Should I try to heat that up and get that other piece on there, or just say to heck with it and just solder them two together? Well, I think what we got to do is get you reattached where you were. I think I can get those two to grab each other. There we go. That's a really nice strong joint too. So that makes me happy. Try to tap out any weirdness like that. Either you go underneath like that, that'll work. Now, let's check it again. For some reason I have a feeling it's going to want to do it again. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's just the way those negatives are coming together. Nope, it was just a bad bulb. There we go. It happens. Like I said, if you do the proper steps of checking things as you go before you get too far in it like I did, you would catch that a lot earlier. Yeah, it's just these cheap bulbs. And I don't know why I went with those when I have a container of all nice good ones. But they were, I've never had an issue with these before. I got them in stuff that have been running for a long time, so I just wanted to use them up. There we go, though. We got sconce lights. Right now they just look like light boxes. Can we carefully... Oh, that's doing what I want. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to see it. Especially with the gate up. But yeah, now those triangle things in the background will be lit. So, and I'm going to have the Darth Vader figure right here. So that'll allow you to see him a little bit through the cockpit since we opened that doorway open. And I think you can, with the gate down, you can kind of see up, you know, through this area here. With it down, you'll be able to see up in there a little bit too. So it'll cover both bases instead of you only being able to see from him from the bottom, which mostly is going to be covered because it's going to be sitting up on a stand and you'd have to get pretty low. But although this is going to be up higher than normal because of the wings. But that makes me happy. That makes me able to say that we're good for the night. It's doing precisely what I wanted it to. So we'll come back. We'll start working on the engine lights.